Hey, welcome to the Hired AV podcast. My name is Joe Way. I am your host. And we have a new one for you today. No idea if it'll be good or not, but it's definitely new. A live stream show to the Hetma back end channel. And I know it's working because I saw you all hop in here. And I even have, wait, Lyle, you can't come in and steal the show, okay? This is my show. This is my time. And now automatically it's Lyle's show. But we know that it's Lyle's show because I see Lyle everywhere, including the airport on the way out. This is just amazing. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We're trying something new here. I just wanted to make this we need to put a band-aid, a ribbon, a bow. We're putting a bow on InfoComm Week. Hey, everyone. Good to see you hopping in here. We're putting a bow on with a live Hired AV podcast recording. You know, it comes out every Tuesday. This is Tuesday. I may or may not have been too lazy to record one ahead of time. So we are doing it here. We got 34 people watching right now. You can also watch this later at Avixa TV. So this will also be posted at Avixa TV in the future. So make sure to see it there as well. But this is just crazy. I think we're all on a high. I at least have, oh boy, are we going to Waffle? No, I'm out of Waffle House right now. Yeah, all right. We'll see how many squirrel moments I have looking at the chat here. But I mean, like, look at how many great people are on this. Yeah. Hey, Kevin. Now, oh my God, Steve, Greg. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just Graham from the UK. We got guests from the UK coming on the show. Look at that. That's amazing. I like doing this live chat thing. I should do that more often. So today what I wanted to do is I'm going to finish up. I'm going to spare you all. We won't do a totally long episode, but I wanted to do a post-show wrap up, just going through some of the top moments for me. Some things that we liked. We can make this interactive. I actually didn't realize that there would now be 42 people online and actually caring about what this is. So. Do feel free to throw some comments in there, questions. Let's have a good conversation. What's great is looking at the chat already. It reminds me, which is pretty amazing. We know that our virtual conference, we were virtual before it was cool. We took, my voice is shot. I'm sure you can tell still. At least I can actually speak today. But our virtual conference, virtual before it was cool. We made it a physical preference. Vocal rookie. Well, if we had the smooth vibe sounds of Lyle, we wouldn't have to worry about what our voice is. But nonetheless, that was the worst Trinidad and Tobago impression I could have done. I understand that. But I do want to start with a few top moments. And then just talk about what this means, for us. I have attempted to turn off work email and work Slack and all. And I did put there we go. I can project. Everyone knows I'm loud and obnoxious. So that was to Brits. I guess for people not looking at chat, I have to tell you, Brit's husband's going to teach vocal. All right. Anyway, some things that we've had going well. Just talk about what this means for the vertical. Oh, as I was saying, is I'm taking some time off. I'm taking a month off of work, trying to relax. Going to finish up my book, but also I couldn't not just put that bow on this. Talk about things that's happening. Obviously, I looked at my texts and my messages after we got back, and just seeing the connections come out, and just seeing the words that were said. There was one that was really, really cool. Even for those who know the distributor D&H and Peter Hurley sent me an email this morning just saying, I did one after party stop. just to see one person at one event, and BC hung out with me, and he sent a really awesome email. By the way, BC wants to connect with you. But just saying, hey, thank you for taking the time out, to come and say hi. And I'm glad we could connect. And what you are doing and what your vertical is doing is didn't go unnoticed, and it was the talk of the show. And I think that to me, when you have people who say, what are you, who is this, what is going on here, it's really what made this special. How many times were we working the booth and we ended up just having people say, hey, I was at XYZ booth and they said I need to come here. After we went through the entire badge scan list, I think 1,153, I think, total new connections. Obviously, some are current members. But if you think about that, that means 1 out of less than 20 people that walked that floor got scanned by us. 1 out of 20 that walked the floor. That is pretty amazing. They're only the top booths can put those numbers up, right? So to me, that shows the importance of what we do. It shows why we did what we did. And it also shows that there are a lot of great things to come, right? Cruz, how's it going? David, good. I mean, it is fire. And I think that's what, hey, Renee, that's the thing that's going to make this legitimized us this time, because I know we were always legitimate, but it's real, it's physical, it's no longer this thing that people have heard about, right? And to have that booth, to have burned through our entire bank account. No, I'm just kidding. So this is the part where I get to new sponsorship level. No, just kidding. Really made that difference. So yes, Lyle, quit stealing my thunder. There are a few people who need the shout out, and since Lyle already did it, I'm going to go ahead and go right there. Brooke is the MVP of the entire booth, because the way Brooke from George Mason University spent the entire time just scanning badges, and just, I know people were telling me that like, yeah, did she scan you? Yeah, she scanned me like 7 times. And by the way, that does not go to our numbers. Duplicates got pulled out. Okay, so that was a rock star moment, which also I think is one of our lessons learned, right? As we go forward, we need to have specific badge scanners, because I got it. All right. I should also have a list for the worst badge scanners, Tim Van Wart, who would love to scan a badge and then stand there for 15. Anton is in the running for worst badge scanner too. That's for sure. Because you scan it and then talk for 15 minutes about everything. No, you gotta scan. You gotta get, close that stuff. You don't want more fries with that. We gotta go. Dustin, throwing yourself under the bus there. But that was it. Is really what having that dedication to getting people scanned in and known, and that was huge. And Brooke, so huge tip of the hat to Brooke for just being our MVP on badge scans. And again, it's those things that you have to do to show that we actually here meaning business, right? It just, when people come up to your booth, they, the business and the connections, they don't just happen for themselves. So now we have this great group that we can continue to grow our membership, and we've seen it. For those of us who are admins on the back-end community.hetma.org, at community.hetma.org, for those who are listening and not yet members, I've never seen so many notifications in 24 hours than came in yesterday. Every minute there was something coming in of a new member, another new member, and it was amazing. I'm pretty sure we doubled our membership within the week, which is just awesome. That's one of our goals. So one of our goals was, of course, hey, how's it going? was to grow membership, right? That was one goal. Second goal was to make sure that the entire AV industry knew the importance of the higher ed vertical, not just HETMA as a group, but the entire AV industry knowing the importance of higher ed. And I think we got there. I no doubt we got there. So that's it. The second award, so not an MVP, but kind of, okay, I don't know if we do co-MVPs, has to go to Lyle. And, Lyle set the vibe of the entire event with the DJing while it was going on, all the way from bringing me amazing rum, okay, which we got to take a shot of while we were doing booth setup, and just having that vibe, people walking up going, "Oh my God, you have your tropical vibe along with a real DJ and doing this stuff was amazing." But beyond that, one of the last nights, in fact, it was the last night. I think it was just pre Waffle House. Lyle, you said amazing words at the pool. You made every one of us tear up. Because, we've always founded this organization on making sure that voices like yours, people like you, have a place to thrive and be seen. And that legitimized the entire trip, regardless of how many new members we got, what we were able to show off in the education, but to say, hey, a lot lives are changed, voices are being heard. And that to me just summarizes everything to the point where I have no words. And when I have no words, well, one, I hate that. But two, there's that shows that meaning was accomplished. So Lyle, tip of the hat to you, even if your hat did say the Yankees, but that's okay. I'll forgive you for that. Everyone's a sinner. But that was amazing. So Lyle, huge MVP to you as well. So let's go through and how this week, and I've told people this after we got there, that I've been a nervous wreck for the last month, 2 months leading up to this. I really had been. We hadn't done this before. I tried to kind of play it low key. I really wanted people to step up and let's let this happen. We had amazing chairs from the booth chairs with Anne and Lex working on that, and of course Chris doing the education stuff, and Troy being our events chair, and then we have Aaron and Annie working on the banquet, right? We have all these people, and then from the show floor tours with Ryan and AV Super Friends and myself, and there's a lot of people like going, and I counted through that we had over 50 volunteers, and we saw that at our Friday night dinner. So for those of you who got food poisoning, hopefully you're doing better. No, but we saw that our Friday night dinner of just how that room got packed of volunteers, people who care, who were not necessarily paid to be there. Yes, we give some sponsorships and scholarships away, but people who really care about this organization. And that to me is what was amazing. Hey, well, you know what? We'll probably be back to Benihana's next year, so don't worry. I mean, the secret location that no one knows about. So to all of those who really stood up, that was my third. Are you allowed to give multiple MVPs, or does it downgrade all the MVPs? I don't know. But just all of those chairs who stepped up and said, I'm going to take a section. I want to own something and I'm going to run with it. It is true. Benihana's to cook their food, Chris. You can watch them. So to be able to see that, when we ended up with over 300 badge scans or some in the first 90 minutes of the show floor opening, with people running up to us saying, hey, I was told to come here and I need to find out what you are, was amazing. Over 200 people at the first happy hour on Wednesday night, over 300 and some people, over 300 and some, 350 coming to the happy hour on Thursday night. We had a sellout of our banquet, right? To the point where they recognized that more food was ordered than tables that were there. Um, our show floor tours had new people. That was one of the things that also stuck out to me a lot. We had 3 show floor tours between myself and Ryan running the official Avixa ones, and then Chris and Larry and the AV Super Friends running their secret behind the scenes. I actually know nothing about it, so I'm just going to make up what they talked about. I'm sure they stuck a sticker on my back on the way out. Um, and but kind of the other side of the floor, the non-official side. But what I noticed was the people who took the tours were not just, hey, my staff loading in, our core group loading in. It was new people. My tour specifically was half. I think there were 22 people on my tour. Half of them, it was their first InfoComm, and they were in the higher ed vertical, and they saw on the back end, hey, this was part of the things as part of the higher ed stuff. So, and they signed up that way. And a few of them started hanging out at our booth the entire time. It was great. On Friday, saw one of the people that was on my tour, their first InfoComm, and he was wearing a t-shirt at our booth and hanging out on Friday. And it's like, that's it right there. That's it. And that to me is really what makes a difference. The fourth MVP does have to go to Avixa. I know that Avixa can get a bad rap on things. But the fact is, we wouldn't be an organization we are today without their support. It started with their support of the PRISM Scholarship. They jumped in and loved it. They've just, so you know, they've always donated the room for us to hold our banquet. And, when we partnered with them to bring a booth onto the floor and we said we wanted to take this next step, they helped so much. I mean, I don't think you all know behind the scenes. Yeah, they let us do us, which was amazing. I warned them that the little fraternity party at the back, they might regret letting an end user on the floor. But the way they were able to come together, if you saw even registration, where they put the Hired AV Awards, they put the show floor tours, they put the education summit, all as part of things you could sign up for. So it wasn't just, hey, we're going to help, give you they helped a lot. I threw a lot of questions out there. How does this work? Everything. The day I got my Freeman account, I knew all hell was going to break loose, and I had to worry about things like power and shipping and all these things and in and out and all that. It was crazy, but they really helped along the way. They wanted to make the success. And they really partnered to make sure that those who registered or who were part of a higher ed vertical recognized that we were here. There's a community there. So that was a huge thing. So I have to give the kudos to Avixa for that, because this wouldn't have been possible. When I kind of going back to I was a nervous wreck for a month and a half, 2 months. A lot of it's because I am a perfectionist. I am someone who wants to knock it out of the park every time, right? That is just who I am. And if you walk the show floor, you realize that a lot of booths, especially those lower, the smaller than a 20 by 10, we got a full island booth, right? So those that are smaller often only care about just being there. And you can tell, right? They set up their little thing and then they just stand there waiting for people to come by. And we didn't want that. We wanted to really make a stand and make a statement. And that one, we accomplished it, but it did make me a nervous wreck. But on Monday night of the Higher Ed AV Awards, when I'm having to add on an hour's worth of open bar, when I wake up in the morning, that morning, and I get the final count list from Avixa of registrants, to people who registered through their website, and then I start seeing all of this, the added last minute tickets come in, and I have to call the Improv and say, by the way, I need 40 more seats and I need food and all that. They were awesome. The Improv was awesome. That means they had to bring in more help and they had to bring in more staff to handle it. I know we ran out of chicken for a short minute, but you know what? What do you expect when you add 30% to your queue or whatever it is, the other 25% last minute? So that was awesome, and that ability to um, to recognize all of the amazing work that had been done over the last year. Um, Obviously, kudos to Chi. Chi's everyone knows Chi's my favorite person on earth. Um, uh, but just seeing Britt walk up and Britt getting the AV Professional of the Year, because I can picture Britt's journey over this last year, and there are people who hop on the scene, and I'll always say, I want to get involved, and I want to make a stand, or I want to do this and I want to do that. And my response, as people know, is, oh, you want to do that? Great, you go do it. And we'll have a platform for you. And to see how she's grown. And by the way, also Britt should have got the award for killing the Twitter, so quickly, because that was amazing. And so to me, that moment was huge, because it shows, when there's a gap in an industry and you come in and you fill it and you rock it and you get the recognition you deserve. So cheers, Britt. That was awesome. Obviously, I am Higher AV Awards are dear to my heart. And the ability then to give away 6 amazing Hall of Fame, to open up the first one with 6 Hall of Famers. There was early conversations of how many to give away. Is 6 too many? But as kind of a group, as we talked, we recognized that these 6 needed it. They all deserved it. They defined as a group what our vertical is, and that really, it was the kind of the icing on the cake too, right? And just recognizing how many people came before, and I think it's a good balance against what we've done, right? HETMA is no doubt the future of our vertical. I heard that many times, and from people who very high up in the industry, saying that HETMA is the future of our vertical. But that those 6 people represent the foundation it took to get there. HETMA didn't do this on its own, right? We did this through a community that's been there for years and just needed a formalization, needed an advocacy group to step in and say, okay, let's take all this work, let's recognize it, and now let's make it have an impact. And so that to me was the amazing part, and so that night to me was special. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the next night. I have yesterday as part of my vacation, I may or may not have already been looking up locations for next year. So we have a few ideas. No, I'm not going to throw them out here. Next, the Education Summit. Bren Walker from Avixa attended it, and she is a consultant. She's not working higher ed, but she is a consultant and wanted to. We have ideas, but no swag. We're not allowed to bring up swag ideas yet. Way too early for that. But she attended it, and I had an opportunity to be on an AV Life recording with her on Friday. And she couldn't stop talking about how amazing. In fact, actually on the AV Life, she mentioned and specifically pointed out the Education Summit as one of the highlights of what has happened at the show. Because if you stood back and just saw everybody collaborating together, this is one thing that I've always said about our vertical that differentiates our vertical, is that we are not competitors. We are colleagues. We are collaborators, right? We're people who share information, want everybody to do better. And if we have problems with something, all we have to do is reach out. We reach out, come into the HETMA backend, or reach out to people, reach out to friends, and we can find the solutions to make everybody better. And that was seen at the summit. You saw people working together, sharing ideas, learning from one another. One thing that Chris said from the stage that has stuck with me was, and I'm going to have the words wrong, but you all get it, is that we brought in a bunch of subject matter experts, right, to lead each section. But the fact is, everyone in the room is a subject matter expert. And Chris, that was amazing how you said that, because that is true about our vertical. Our vertical is made up of qualified professionals. We know that because if we look at the Avixa numbers, or the number of people who are end users who passed a CTS shows that end users are now the core and heart of our industry. And we've been saying it, and you saw it in a room right there, that everybody at those tables, you did, Chris. See, and I even remembered it. I now have a quote that I will attribute to you until I say it 10 times, then it becomes mine. Because you know what they say, steal something, steal one thing and it's plagiarism, steal 100 and it's a PhD. So I will. I gotta say, so that was amazing, and just seeing the community come together that way. That was physical proof of what we say our jobs are day in and day out. So that was just amazing. And of course, we talked about the show floor tours. We opened the booth. The booth setup. You want to talk about rockin' magic? Gosh, and just seeing that thing come up, and we had to figure it out, right? Again, learning curves. When you look at a 20 by 20 grid on a piece of paper from 3,000 miles away, you well, you don't know what's gonna work. How does it fit? I think we could have done without a truckload of snacks that just kept getting in the way in the back closet. Definitely need more T-shirts. Those were a hot item. But kind of coming up with that theme and going with the theme, I think was what worked, and it showed who we are, right? We're legit people who just like to have a good time and like to share with one another. And that was the vibe through the entire week. We didn't just start strong and die. I'm always good for a bigger boat. Like always good for a bigger boat. But except my lake won't let me have a bigger boat. I have the biggest thing. But all right, anyway. My boat also, as I found out last week, my boat is also known as the HETMA headquarters. So there we go. When do we have a board meeting on my boat? But that just throughout, and seeing people come up to us, and how many people, I got to tell you too, I loved being able to turn. We may or may not have a bigger booth next year. Not going to let everything out of the cat out of the bag, but yes, we just may have a bigger booth next year. We may be moving around. We do have our pre-assignment is a 20 by 20 currently, but we're working on some other things. Well, in fact, actually, they don't have to give us a bigger booth because we just took over the 10 feet on each side anyway. We just made our booth a 40 by 30 without even, so there we go. Oh, boy. Oh, we're going into Crestron zone with an 80 by 80. There we go. Actually, I think they're 120 by 80. You guys have a big old one next year. Crestron. And we definitely have to do multiple stories. Well, because we have to have DJ Carbone up on the platform from up above. We have to have that. The podcasting from the booth was kind of cool. I think people liked coming by and seeing that. One of the things that didn't work was the programming. We were going to do classes and presentations. That we killed that after day one. Just wasn't enough space and set up for that. So that's okay. That's okay. We learned from that one. Then, of course, Friday with our banquet, I got to tell you, the banquet was amazing. And here's what's cool about the banquet. We had so many people to recognize and so many initiatives to recognize that it took that time. And being able to, when you have to double your amount of food, when you have so many things going on, and we could recognize all of our PRISM scholars, and watching, what was neat about our PRISM scholars, not just recognize them. I'm so proud of you all for everything that you've done. But here's the one thing I know. When Annie went and took you all to lunch on Thursday, it was the most miserable time of my life because I got stuck there running the booth, and it made me recognize how much work you all were putting in all week. You rocked the booth. All our PRISM scholars were hanging out at the booth all week, scanning people in, having conversations, sharing what ETMO is about. That was amazing. And then you all go to lunch for an hour and a half, and I'm like, what do I do? And there's a lot of people here. How I can keep up with this? So kudos to that. And then while I'm stepping around the chair massage people, I don't know. I think they had a good time. I think they hated us to start with, and then I think they ended up enjoying us. But yeah, our prisms, and then the next round and announcing the next cohort. We are now 2 cohorts in. If I just look at the leaders of our industry and our organization that came from the first cohort, how how more is that going to be that come through the second and third and fourth? And that is amazing. Oh, sign from the rafters. Oh, we have a history of going bigger and bigger. So that was amazing. Obviously, the big announcement, there's a couple of other announcements that didn't get tied up. We got to do official stuff now. But one of the big announcements, of course, are road shows. We're going to start out at Aaron's campus in beginning of August. Then we're going to start floating around more information coming out. Road shows to really spotlight our members. They're going to be like meetups. They're going to be ability to grow our local communities, because you know what? There's still nothing better. Even though we have a great, vibrant online community, we're going to see each other, on our virtual conference and at InfoComm. But you know what? Getting together with those around you, having lunch together, being able to build your local group, your local where it has so much more value, especially because you can go to the one-day events, and we know a lot of our sponsors, manufacturers host local events, whether it be like Crestron Next, or you've got the AVI SPL events, right, that travel around. And if you guys can go to those and come together with those and see each other at local events, you got to know who your people are first. So that's our goal of our road show that's coming up. So again, we took what's virtual, we've made it physical, and keeping that going. I think I've pretty much summed up, the post show and my thoughts. And, I guarantee you there's people that need to be thanked. In fact, everyone not on this chat needs to be thanked. We have great ideas for next year. Themes already done. Viva la Hetma. We're going to Vegas, baby. We got Elvis theme-ish. And a little less conversation, a little more action. We're going to go big. We're going to continue to grow. We've got amazing things happening online. Look forward throughout. Chris is knocking it out with the lunch and learns, with our education throughout the year. Chris, this has been, yes, it should be Viva la Hetma, but I was voted wrong on that because I don't know, because they wanted to make it gender correct. I agree with Chris, but you know what? I'm a man of the people, and I gave in. I gave in. But the best part is, whatever we say right now, but if we hashtag it now, we come back to it in a year, it doesn't matter. So there is, should we do an official back end poll vote? Is it whether it's Viva la Hetma or Viva la Hetma? A little Hester. But that'll be our next year's theme. We're already working on it. Conversations are already starting with vendors, with all of that. We've got new sponsorship packages coming out July 1. I will get working on that, because obviously a huge part of this was a lot of sponsors coming out, especially who came to us, who want part. We're going to definitely need more approved program evaluators. A lot of products coming through. So approved program evaluators going to be much needed. Advisory councils starting. So it's so awesome. We now have advisory councils chaired, and we are now going to really be able to take those advisory groups and let those run strong. So that's starting out. This just to see how this has changed and grown has been amazing. So my very, very last words are just thank you. Everyone in their career is I hit 50. I hit 50 in a month, which is kind of why I'm taking a month off. Midlife crisis month. Is that what it is? No, just getting some things done. I had a lot of use them or lose them hours, so I'm taking them and just kind of finishing my book. But this was just awesome, especially just having this time to reflect. Everyone in their career wants something where they can say, "Hey, there's a signature moment where something special has happened, and it can live beyond." Yes, the book is it's producing education as opposed to producing worship. My first one, which is right there. But I'm going to go through changes in technology throughout the pandemic and what it means for us going forward. So there we go. But more to come on that. And just to say, really thank you, everybody. You've all changed my life immensely. I can't imagine what my career would be like without how you guys have taken this little dumb idea that BC and I had, shoving 4 years ago, little save the date cards for a first virtual conference, coming together with our steering committee, and now looking at what we did. We made history. Literally, people use made history as a tagline, but we are the first end user group to ever put a booth on the InfoComm trade show floor. And don't forget that. And you were part of that special moment. It will only grow. Our impact will only grow. This organization and the lives it changes will only grow. This is, I hate to say it, but after all this work, this is just the beginning, and that's what's scary. So we need you all come together, keep up the great fight, and know that we're doing a great thing for our vertical. So that being said, I also just want to give one last thank you, and that is to BC and Aaron. Our chairs, co-chair, my vice chair and chair emeritus co-founder. We text a lot, and we are on the back end, and we've been this kind of hidden support group through this, because there's a lot of things that you can say publicly, and we do on the back end, and there's some who are just great friends, and just our texts and throwing ideas out, and just being that support through this. So BC and Aaron, I couldn't have done any of this without you. So thank you for that. Probably a lot more texts coming as we drink more to recover from it. We drank up to it to get rid of the stress. Now we're just going to drink to celebrate. And BC already has our t-shirts ready. So no, all right. Love you all. You're amazing. Hopefully you enjoyed this little episode. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Find this on Avixa TV. I think this is where I bring the music in, and I just say all the opinions expressed here are absolutely mine, and they're absolutely those of our sponsors, everyone who's been involved here. And if you didn't like these opinions, well, I don't know what to say about you. Thank you all. Have a great week.